Hi, I'm Karen, and this is my husband Luke, and we are Make Daily.
Hi guys, so today we're going to go through some basic one-part moulding. So for anybody who's seen any of the props used in movies or cosplay or anything like that, where they're really sharp, made from hard plastics and rubbers and sort of advanced materials, a little bit like this Kylo Ren buckle we made here, that's made in polyurethane resin, you have to make a mould, because if you're printing one and cleaning it up, that's great, but if you need to make multiples, doing a mould is the best way to make a copy. So today we're going to go through the existing process and a new process for making these types of one-part moulds. Okay, so first of all, Karen's going to go through how we've made one-part moulds up to now, and then I'll go through how we're going to do something a bit different today with 3D printing. So, Karen.
Right, so basically the way that we usually do it is you get your item, and what you want to do is measure out your item. We keep about a half an inch gap, which is about 12.7 mil around the edge of the item, just so that you've got enough of a wall for your silicone. So basically, once you've drawn out your measurements, what you'll want to do is, like shown before, so here's one I made earlier. You want to get your, like, any bit of hardboard, cereal boxes.
Or cardboard even.
Cardboard.
Hardboard works too, but cardboard is easier to get a hold of.
Yeah. Cereal boxes were a good treat. So the pizza boxes or anything like that, just make sure that they're grease free, and because you want your card to be nice and clean.
Yeah.
So
you could use things like acrylic. Some people even use Lego as well, so you can build your mould walls with Lego, which is also another great way. And with Lego, you obviously can reconfigure it really easily, so that's great. I just don't like it so much because it takes too long.
And it's Lego.
I don't know, it's Lego. I kind of don't want to put silicone all over my Lego.
So anyways, so what you basically want to do is measure out your measurements like here, create a wall here.
We're going to build a wall.
Leave a bit there for a glue tab, and then you want to basically cut it out, and you'll end up with one of these. So the height we've left is also about half an inch, which is about 12.7 mil. So once you've got your measurements, just score. You don't want to go right through, but you just want to score it and basically make yourself a wall. With the glue tab, obviously you just use some hot glue and do that.
Yeah. So I mean, the scoring on the back, it's not necessary. You could use a ruler to bend it, but this was a tip I remember my graphics design teacher, Mr. Alexander, telling me about scoring the backs of bits of card to make them bend. So, and it does really well. So the great thing is, once you've glued that together, you can obviously pop it down, seal it up, and go through the mold. We're not going to go through that because we're going to go through it with the new process too. So we'll put all that to one side because we're not going to do it that way today. So today, we're not going to mold Kylo buckle, so we'll get rid of that. Today we are moulding, it's a small piece, it's for a Thor buckle, for a shoulder piece. This is part one of two pieces. So we'll mould the other part, because the other part will be a two-part mould, and we'll go through that next time and what we're going to try there. So this it's a one-part mould because it sits nicely on a flat surface like so, and it has no undercuts or very little undercuts. It's got a few pieces under the side there that would be classed as undercuts, but I'm not really too concerned about those. So what we're going to do is we're going to bond it down to the baseboard here, and then we would have built a cardboard wall around that, which would have been something a little bit like this, but this time we've actually designed a 3D printed wall. So this is just a 0.75 mil thick wall, and what we're going to do is we're going to glue this down around the object, so that is exactly 12.7 mil around the outside of the object. And because these rounded corners are involved, it'll actually save us a little bit of silicone as well, which is pretty cool. The silicone is very expensive. Yeah. And also, if you can see, I've put in 13 mil on here, so that when we're done, we actually know how much resin is needed to cast the part, because silicone, it doesn't matter how much we write, like we get Sharpies and we write how much resin's needed on it. it just rubs off. Because it's silicone, nothing sticks to silicone.
Yeah.
So this time we're going to put it in the mold wall. So then you'll be able to see on the side of the mold wall how much. Because this is a 3D.
I'm very happy with that.
Yeah. Because this is a 3D print, it's really easy to get the volume in SolidWorks. I can click it and go evaluate, and it will tell me the volume of the part, which for resin is really handy because I know exactly how much I need. So I did print this one out, and obviously I designed it in SolidWorks because I designed this part in SolidWorks. So I just did a little offset wall, and I'll show you through the little design process here, spinning away in the background while we're sat here. But actually when it came out, I decided it was a little bit weak, so it's a little bit flimsy. Now, I think it would have held up to the silicone okay, but I was a little bit worried that towards the top, maybe the weight of the silicone might bowl the wall slightly. And because this is a concept I kind of want to use for some other stuff later on, I thought, let's print another one. So I scrapped the 0.75mm one. I still need that. Thanks. So I printed another one, this time 3mm thick. And you'll notice one key difference as well. So this 13mm is now written backwards because I realised that when we're moulding it, it's going to create the negative impression. So if it was forwards, then on the mould it would be backwards. So I'm glad I caught that one before we did it. But yeah, it just means that it'll show up on the mould. So we're going to do the same thing with this. We're going to glue it down like so. So it'll look a little bit like that. And then we'll go from there. So, next bit we need some super glue, which I don't think I've kept out.
I'm back.
Thanks. Right, okay, so we found the glue, we misplaced it. The lid has seized up a little and we can't find any more, but we've got a toothpick. So, we're going to glue our part down to the baseboard first. So, this is a SLA printed part. So it's been done on the Form 2 in plain black resin. We've cleaned it up. And although it's sat for a long time, so it shouldn't have any parts uncured, if there's any parts on SLA resin that are not 100% cured, when you mold them, you can have inhibition issues, and that doesn't mean you become really like confident and can do anything. It means your silicone will not cure, specifically if you're using platinum cure silicone, which is really finicky about what it will and won't cure with. So anything sulfur based, I think vinyl, there's like I made a horrible mistake with tape once. That cost me a very expensive mold. So all I've done is I've sprayed it with some clear lacquer first, which has given it a nice gloss finish, which because it's going to be a cold cast part means it's going to polish up really nicely actually, so I think that was a good thing to do. So some of the other things we need just before we start, we'll need clear coat, we'll need our silicone. Today we're using Moldstar 20T, which you can get from Benham in the UK or from Smooth On Direct in America. You'll need some mold release, we use Ease Release 200, and some hot glue sticks, a hot glue gun. We've also made some like little brushes, which are, you know, because tiny little brushes tend to be quite expensive, so we just like chop up bits of brushes and glue them to a toothpick. What it'll allow us to do is just to get into the little details and brush the silicone in, because what we really want to make sure is that that first coat of silicone is really nicely in all the details. So, okay, we're going to go ahead and do that. So I guess we can zip. Okay, so we're back. What you can do to accelerate glue time instead of all of that is actually you can use a kicker, which just accelerates the cure time of super glue. We ran out, so we just had to wear it, I guess.
Really need to get some more kicker and super glue.
Yeah, we need to get some more kicker. Yeah, which would be really helpful. Okay, so we've glued down our master. So what we need to make sure we do is just check that we haven't left any like greasy fingerprints or anything on top of the master. So we can use a cloth to sort of clean that down. Oh yeah, t-shirt works as well. So I'm polishing this with a real cloth under the table. Totally not my t-shirt. Ta-da! Right, okay. So the next part I want to do is we're going to glue down our wall. So we'll put that on there like that. Now we could use super glue, but we want to make sure that it's an airtight seal, because if we use the super glue it might not bond everywhere around and the silicone will leak out. Yeah. So we like this silicone because it cures in like 20 minutes, which is great because we're horrendously impatient people. But you still want to use hot glue because it will still ooze out the bottom if it's not right. So we're going to, here's the hot glue gun that we heated up earlier. So we're gonna plug it in.
We are so organised.
Yeah, so prepared. Thank God for fixing in edit. So we're gonna pull out a hot glue stick. So when you make molds like this, you go through hot glue quite a lot.
Yes.
Just fine. Just fix our camera. Like the longest glue stick on the planet.
Ooh.
Right, okay, so our hot glue gun's heated up. Don't touch the hot glue, because it's glue. It's almost like it sticks to things. Oh my God, it goes for days. Right, what you have to make sure is you do not get any of the stringy glue on your master. So we're gonna glue down our little outside. So make sure we place it in the middle, and then we're gonna make sure we do it right. So what we'll do first is we'll grab our extra glue, because I think we're gonna need a bit more. We'll do a start first though. So we're just gonna do two little tacks in the corner just to hold it for now, until it cools down. Fortunately, being a tile, normally it cools pretty quick because the tiles tend to be fairly cold and they take a lot of the heat away from the glue. So that's pretty good.
Are you stringing?
Yeah, and you can go around the outside of the wall like that.
Yeah.
So it's a bit messy on the outside. This glue gun dribbles a lot more than the other glue gun, so we're just going to go around it. Okay, so here we've got some cups, sticks, and a Sharpie. So we need 3 cups today. We're going to write on A, B, and mix. So my handwriting's atrocious, so Karen's going to write them on. Meanwhile, could you pass me the snips? So the other thing you'll need are these sort of spatula sticks. So these are either waxing sticks or ice cream sticks. You can find them on Amazon. We'll put the link below. And when you're mixing cups, you need to make sure that you get all the way to the bottom. Sometimes that's a little difficult with these round bottom sticks. So what I do is I cut the bottoms off. You can use scissors if they're sort of sharp and beefy enough. If not, I use tin snips, which are really great because you can just put it along and launch them at people. Yeah. So you just put it on and down. Yeah, so you can obviously make the bottoms of your sticks nice and flat, which helps. It just helps you get all of the stuff along the bottom, because you kind of want to make sure you mix it nicely. So with this silicone, it's mixed by weight or volume. So because we're doing a small amount here, I actually worked out in SolidWorks how much we needed for the silicone mold, because I did the design for this in SolidWorks and the design for the inside. So I could do a body and subtract that and then know exactly how much silicone I need. Of course, in the real world, you waste a little bit in the A, you waste a little bit in the B, and you waste a little bit in the C, which is the mix. I calculated you needed about 120 ml for this, so today we're actually going to make 150, so that's 20 milliliters more. The idea being, I expect we're going to lose a bit in A, we're going to lose a bit in C, in B, and definitely we're going to lose some in C.
Yeah.
Try and minimise it as much as possible, but you know, you can't really hang around with this stuff because it has a sort of setting time. It starts to cure up after about 5-10 minutes or so you kind of got to get into it pretty quick. So, as you'll see on the tops of these, they have stir well before use. So Karen's going to take A, and I'm going to take B. So if you are doing this, like if you've got a lot of molds to make in one day and you're not doing them all at once, write on the letters on the sticks. So you can put A and B on, and then you can go from there. So we'll stir these. But first we'll go. Okay, so we're now going to mix our parts. So obviously we need 150 ml, I think we said we were going to make.
Yeah.
So we've got our scales here. So what we do is, and I think this was a Frankie Bolito tip, he puts them in this little clear jiffy bag, and it just means if you get any gunk on it, you don't destroy your nice scale, which is quite expensive compared to the cost of a cheap little bag. So we're going to mix up our silicone on there. So let's move our master out of the way for now, keep that nice and safe. And we'll put our scales down here. Okay, so we want 150, so we want 75 or 80. I'm not too fussy. So we turn the scales off, make sure the cup's on first, turn it on, and then we'll zero out. So we'll zero out the cup weight as well. So It's a bit weird trying to do it on camera now, but hopefully we'll get it right.
Can you get it on the mark?
Yeah, that'll be close enough. That'll do. Because we'll lose a little in the cup anyway.
Yeah. I'll put the lid back on.
So we've got 77 in that first cup. There you go. And you just pass me a bit of paper. So this stick is dead. So that's our A cup. That's 77. And our B cup, we also want. Actually, you should do B.
Thanks.
Better get close to 77, Karen. Pay attention, Karen.
I am.
Pay attention, Karen.
I am.
Pay closer attention, Karen.
I am.
More.
Look. Don't be a noob.
That's Karen for
No.
78.5, that's pretty good. I just made a mess all over the jar. So, always before you close your lid on them, clean up the edges, close them up. It'll make them really easy to open again. So we've got 78.7 and 77.7. You can, as long as you're within 10%, it's totally fine. So we can put our scales to one side for now. I'll show you put them on the side table in a second. So we've got A and B, or A and B. We're going to mix it into C. So, in terms of mixing time, you probably want to mix for about a minute or so to really get a good mix. And because they're both clear, you have to be super sure to scrape all the sides and the bottom and everything like that. So we're going to mix them and put them in, and hopefully we're going to get everything right. Actually, I should have kept those sticks apart. That one's A, isn't it?
No, that's B.
That's B.
Yes.
You sure about it?
Yes.
Okay. Bloop, because we're going to need them to scrape out. Oh no, I should have ignored you. Okay, so now we have to go really quick. This is... like so. I'll give you that. So this is where our little brush comes in now, so we can just take a little bit of that silicone and just get... So now for the gravity pour, I'm going to pour it from way up high, off the part. Actually, see, I'm pouring it well off the edge of the part here. It's probably a bit too fast. Just bring the cup up higher and higher. Just want a nice thin stream. Okay, so we've poured all of our silicone now, and I'm just going to take off the excess off the top and skim it off because we don't need all of that. So I know it's making a bit of a mess, but we don't really care because we're going to turn it out. So the next bit we want to do is just make sure it's level. So I think it needs to go a little bit up on that side, like front to back. So you can use 6 sticks again. And get under it. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So then we'll leave it there and we'll let it cure and we'll come back to it in a bit.
A few moments later.
Okay guys, so welcome back. It's been about 20 minutes, half an hour, something like that. So we often leave them for about 40 minutes just to be totally sure. But a great way you can check is you can, the cup that you've mixed in, you can grab the stick and pull it out. And really this is a good time to see how good your mix is. So if there's no residue on the bottom of the cup, which there isn't in this case, which is good considering how quick we had to mix, you can just have a feel around. And I can't really feel any wet bits. And wet bits would mean parts that haven't cured well now. Really, there wouldn't be much we could do about it, but it would be nice to know at this stage whether that's the case. So this is nicely cured. We can also check this little bit here. I think it's gone now. Yeah, so we can check this little bit on the side here. So yeah, I think that's pretty good.
Thanks.
Yeah, so that's pretty good. We can demold this now. Okay, so can you pass me the spatula?
Yes.
So, we've never removed a mold like this before. Normally they're card and you just sort of rip them off, but this is a little bit more durable. So I'm not quite sure how it's going to come off yet. This is sort of part of the, you know, Luke doesn't cut himself into a billion pieces. Always cut away from yourself, I can remember my D&T teacher saying. So this is a little bit of the master that's cracked off on the bottom. We're not really too concerned about that because we're going to we can always print another one if we need it. So the next bit we just check. Yeah, that all feels pretty dry. Once again, couldn't do anything at this stage even if we wanted to. So now all we do is we take a blade. If it's not sharp, we can fit a new one. This one is. So I'm gonna. Okay.
Good?
Yeah, it's good.
Happy?
Yeah, I'm happy. So a few of our little holes still managed to get a few bubbles, but that's not a big deal because we can always drill them out anyway. So all I'm going to do is just push out one mold, and look at that. That is pretty good. So this is quite a clean mold, I would say. It's nicely rounded, and if you look really nicely on there, it's actually upside down. So I have to remember for the next one, not only do I have to do it backwards, I also have to do it upside down. But I mean, you can still read 13mm on there. That is really cool. And yeah, what do you think?
I'll be happy with that.
Yeah. So we've got like minimal flash because we sort of scraped it on the top of the mold. Normally we have to go around and clean this up with a knife, just where it sort of beads around the top. But this is super clean. Really, really happy with this. They just pull off because it's such a tiny amount. I am happy with this mold making technique. This is good. So let's pull it out. So we just gently ease it on the side, and the moment of truth to know whether it's all been a horrendous failure. Or has it been good? Only time will tell. Oh, that's a nice sound. Look at that. So we've got a nice mold now. Oh, look at it, it's shiny.
That looks really good.
And that is why you make sure you spend your time on making a good quality master. So yeah, I'm really happy with this. We'll do a little bit of cleanup just to get some of these little nubbins off the top of these posts. But that's pretty much it. We'll show a cast in the end later on. Cool. Thank you guys. See you later. That worked really well.